I mean, I can just start from like the whole experience if you want me to. I mean, however, you
Okay.
had it like framed, but it was just horrible. Honestly, the worst thing that I've ever encountered in my life. I don't really get sick often. I'm a vet. I went to war. I've done a lot of stuff that I feel like that that's tough. But this made me want to quit, like quit living. It was so like I remember just one night just being like just sitting in my bed with the fever and the body aches and the headaches, um and just sitting there like, God, please, like I don't know if I can just keep going with this. It was just so hard. And then I would go shower. That was kind of my thing. I would just go. I kept showering because the water in my face would just make my headache feel better, and it would make my body just cooler. um but something funny though was my wife got it at work because we've really been taking care of ourselves. Like, we have hand sanitizers everywhere, we wear masks everywhere. We really took it serious. And my wife's manager gave it to her at work,
Mm.
which is not like an intentional thing, not to like
Yeah.
point fingers, but it was just frustrating, that at her job, like not everybody was following the guidelines because she was. And yeah, so she got, and I was really worried about her. I'm like, oh man, because she has like allergies, so I'm like, maybe that's something related to uh like a precondition or something. So I was really worried about her. And I've been married. God, this is embarrassing. Since 2008, December 2008. I don't know, Robin, the years, but I grew up with my wife, so that's my best friend, everything. So I couldn't leave her. I was just gonna still be with her throughout, through thick and thin. So, um, I ineptly got it like 2 days later. She got it on a Monday. Then like on Wednesday, I started feeling the symptoms, and um, Thursday I called out. I was like, I can't. I can't teach. So I missed like Thursday, Friday. By that time, her symptoms were gone. Like, it only lasted like 2 days for her. So I was worried for her, and then she ended up taking care of me because for me they lasted like a whole week, and it was just like constant like body aches. Like it hurt like from the tip of your fingernails to like your eye sockets. Like, it was just everywhere. It's honestly like unexplainable because you can't really take any medicine for it. You just kind of gotta tough it out till it leaves your system. Um,
What did
and
the pain feel like?
It was just like weakness. Like, it was just like you just couldn't. You just don't have the energy to do anything, and then it's just random like aches. It feels like, I guess, what, I don't know, maybe like what arthritis would feel like. I don't know. I never had anything like it, honestly. Um, and that's how it felt like. So I felt like that, and then on the Wednesday of the week after, it wasn't going away. um so I was monitoring my breathing because that's what everybody says. I got an exometer. I found one. I had to drive around a few pharmacies.
And
uh,
can you explain to people what an exometer is in case they don't know?
yeah, so it's a little device that you just put your finger in, and it measures your oxygen levels.
Mhm.
And you want to stay above 92. That's like the number. 90 I mean, 90 is like, already you probably got something's going on. And I woke up on that Wednesday, and I could feel that I couldn't breathe all the way, but I'm like, maybe it's just 'cause I just woke up. Just couldn't, when you like take your whole breath in, like,
Mhm,
I
mhm.
couldn't. It was like halfway, and I was like, was taking a lot of breaths halfway, and my oximeter was reading like 85. So I was like, oh, okay, so this is not good. So I ended up going to the emergency room, which was very hard for me because, I mean, I honestly had faith. I'm a man of faith, and I knew it was gonna be okay, but it really just affected me leaving my wife because she was alone. She was quarantined. My daughter was, my family's three people and the dogs. My daughter was with her grandma. So you just leaving my wife was really hard. And I could tell like it was just really hard for her to drop me off because you never know. I think the people that are in the hospital, you kind of know. For me, it was like going to war because, I kind of knew what I was doing, and I was busy every day, but the people at home don't know what's going on. And that's how I felt she was, which I kept constant communication, but, you know, waving at her through a window is, I think, the toughest part
Yeah.
is being isolated because you have to be isolated. And if anything happened, just being in that emergency room was so sad because I mean, the most of the people at that hospital, it was COVID related. So you could hear the phone calls like, I love you. This is when I was in the emergency room when I got there. And just, people that just didn't look good. Um, and I got there, but thank God, like they gave me all this medicine, and I guess like it just went away. Like I just sweated hardcore, like all my sheets were wet. I think it just left my body there after I started getting everything that Piedmont Hospital at Noonan, which was tremendous. Like it was great. It was a great hospital. And they just, I don't know, like after that I just started, I didn't have the symptoms anymore, which was, thank God, that just went away. And what the lady told me there, the nurse, was like that this is other bacteria and viruses are very opportunistic. So they kind of wait. If your body's battling that, then they attack. So I got the COVID pneumonia. So that's what I got. So my lungs had liquid in it or whatever the other stuff is. So yeah, but you go ahead and ask me whatever, Robin. I'm sorry. I could
No,
talk.
no, that's fine. You're doing fine. No, I do have the statistics and things here that I want people to be aware of, but what we're really interested in is what you're saying. So, when you had COVID pneumonia, right? Did you feel that your lungs were full, like too full? Were you coughing up stuff, or were you just like unable to fully fill your lungs, or what?
Yeah, so it was like I couldn't take the whole breath in. It was a shorter breath. And when I would go, like I would try to go deeper because they give you this machine, which I'm gonna ask my daughter to come show. I'm gonna tell her, Ellie. So I want to show it to you, but it was like an exercise machine that you blow into and you gotta like make sure the little thing is there. But every time I would go too deep, like you start coughing. Bring me the little thing that I would practice my breathing with over there in my room, please. And I would just practice constantly with that every day. And they told me sleep on your stomach because it relieves pressure off your lungs. If you're sleeping on your back, you have all the weight on your lungs. And basically, the nurse told me how your lungs are stronger, basically, in the front part than they are in the back, the muscles. And it's just if you're on the front, then you give your lungs more room to expand. So it's better just to lay on the front. So yeah, this is the thing, the magical device that I would just keep practicing with, and you just blow in it, and like whatever there. But at first, I couldn't even get to like 500. I'm gonna be honest with you, and it
And you're
was
trying to get the little ball up on the scale.
yeah. So she's like, you want to keep the ball. Like what you want to do is like, don't worry about the number at first. She told me, she's like, try to keep the ball there, the constant breath, like go as deep as you can. And I kept practicing, and I was there for 6 days. Martin Luther King Day, I got out, and at that point I could breathe by myself because when I got there, they put oxygen in me. And I started like at 6, then I dropped to 4, then I just slowly started dropping. And but I still feel it. Like my nose is I still have nosebleeds.
Oh, really?
Because so much oxygen, I guess, dries up all the inside right here. But then the aftermath too, like just getting home, cramping, like my body randomly cramps. I lost like 25 pounds, which I'm not complaining about that. I did gain back
That's
10.
a lot. That's an
That's a lot.
enormous amount of weight to lose in a short
I
time.
mean, you lose appetite too, and the taste thing. I forgot that, like that, the common thing, the taste and the smell. The smell wasn't, I didn't lose the whole smell, but the taste, I didn't lose it all, but I lost it enough where it was just like food tasted weird. But I honestly didn't have any energy to even like want to eat or want to do anything. Like I just, you're just there. Even when I got back, it was kind of like just being in my own body again. It was weird. I don't know if it was after the hospitalization, but I was taking medicine because I got released, but because I could breathe and maintain my breath, above the 92 by myself. But they sent me with all this medicine home. So I was just very kind of just still, I guess I was under these medicines or what, but I just kind of like, I don't know. It was strange to be in my body moving around again in my house. The sleeping was a little off.
How so?
I just randomly would wake up at night and I couldn't go back to sleep. I have a friend that he told me he kind of developed like insomnia, but I was like, it's not that bad for me. I really kind of force myself to sleep. I try to read like just puts me to sleep. So I try to do that. But there was times where I would reading and I was reading chapters and I'm like, man, this is not working. So that is something else. it's a whole body experience, and then it's like a mental thing too. I don't know, like now I've slowly started, going back out, going to the gym or going, and my body's not where it used to be strength wise or endurance wise, but I just want to start developing that habit again of
Yeah,
of
yeah.
doing things. Um,
Are you
but
worried when you go out into public? Are you worried about other people infecting you another time? Or do you have enough antibodies in your system that you get a little break from that for now?
So I've heard that that you have the antibodies in you and like you're not gonna get it for like 3 months. That's
Yeah.
what I've heard like people saying. I don't really know. I
Mhm.
still wear my mask everywhere. And I did get the shot. I
Oh,
got the
that's
shot
good.
last Thursday. I have to go back the 18th for the second dose.
Yeah,
But
me too.
I mean I have did you get any headaches after the shot? I've been feeling kind of like poop. Like I've been getting like headaches. I don't know if I'm just dehydrated. My wife tells me you're just dehydrated, but I don't know. I randomly get headaches and I've been having to take like Tylenols, but I've never taken Tylenols like so many days in a row.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I didn't. Well, I got the shot because my dad was in the hospital for 72 days. He was in the ICU, and then he
for
was in,
COVID?
no, no.
Okay.
He had a bunch of other stuff wrong with him, but he wound up in a rehab for most of that time, down at Piedmont Fayette at Laurel Park. And, we couldn't visit him. Birthday is when he got sick in November 15th. So he missed birthday, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, all of it. And got out like it's been about a week and a half since he's been home. Thank God.
Yeah, I've been seeing your
But he
pictures. Yeah,
got a
that's
shot.
beautiful. I'm glad he's home.
Yeah. I mean, he's 89 years old. So he got a shot when they first started giving the shots in there a few weeks ago. And everybody was like, yay, great. So then we started wondering, well, when he comes home, are we going to be able to get a shot? And I've been, like many people, trying for weeks. We drove him up to get his second shot and said, oh, are you guys with Walgreens or CVS? Because they had paired up with the long-term care facilities to give the shots. And these guys were with CVS. And my mother asked, well, do you know if they're going to be in the CVS here, there, anytime soon? And the guy said, well, since you're his caregivers, we can give you a shot. And we said, yeah, sure. And everybody started
Awesome.
taking their
Oh,
arms out of their shirt. And we got a shot sitting in the car, just like my dad got his. And so, my mother and I have to go back on the 18th. And Risa, my partner, got a shot with the county health department yesterday or the day before. Yes, I think the day before yesterday. But she had been in Miami dealing with her mother who had died. And so like Miami is really bad, really, really bad. And I had said at first, I don't know if you can get a shot while you're down there, but maybe because you're her caregiver, you can. And she's like, no, because you have to come back and get the second shot there.
yeah.
But she said it was super bad.
How was her process here with our county? Was that similar?
I haven't really talked to her about it in too much detail. I think it was pretty much an in and out thing. I know that they didn't have that much at the time, but they're supposed to be getting some more very soon. And I had tried to go through the county because I'm in that 1A group because of my parents and also because of Risa. And then I'm also in that next group because of being an essential worker. So, but I was really looking hard, and I feel really bad for people who don't know how to navigate that system or aren't really good at finding stuff online, because I'm really, really good at it. And I couldn't find one because there was none to be had.
Mhm.
So, in the meantime, while we're waiting, it's so super important for everybody to keep wearing those masks, because that's going to starve that thing from spreading and replicating in other people and then changing, mutating, and becoming something else. Now, I did have some really good news. Do you know if you got the Pfizer or the Moderna shot?
I got the Pfizer.
Yeah, I got the Pfizer too. The Clayton County Health District says on their website that new mutation, which is called B117, has appeared in Clayton County this week.
Of COVID?
Yeah.
That's the one that can spread like super faster than the
Yeah.
other.
However, the good news is if you have either the Pfizer or the Moderna shot, that seems to have an effect against it. So that's good, because I didn't know if that was going to make a difference or not, but apparently it does.
How did you feel about getting the shot itself? I was a
So
little
happy.
hesitant. But were you hesitant at all since it happened so fast?
I felt really lucky, you know, I felt lucky because the only reason I got it was because we had a family connection to that facility, and, you know, we're direct. I can't take my dad somewhere, or, you know, take him to the bathroom or empty his tray or do any of that kind of stuff. I'm putting on hand sanitizer just thinking about it. I can't do any of that stuff, you know, and expose myself to it. When I go and visit them, and we're all in the house, I have on a mask. They have on a mask. Everybody has on a mask in the house. Before, we would go outside and sit on the patio, like in the summer when the weather was nice. We would sit in the patio and sit way far apart. You know, like my brother would come up and he would be sitting 10 feet away, and I would be sitting way over there, and my parents would be sitting here, but the kids wouldn't be there. You know, he has teenage and young adult children that are, you know, God knows what they're doing, roaming the streets or going to school or whatever, but, you know, because they don't want to expose my parents to them. So, yeah. So, I mean, it's changed a lot of things just
It
in
has,
day to day.
yeah. Who would have known? Like, I mean, it's crazy. But I don't know. I think you know, in hindsight, I like, for me, for example, the experience has brought a lot of just things like into perspective, you know, for me, that really matter. Like, what really matters. Like, before, I would, you know, lose sleep over things that, you know, are outside my locus of control, or that I can't even, that don't even matter. Like, don't matter. The stress doesn't matter for that. What matters is like your family, your relationships with people, you know, like, just thinking of like, what if I was gone? Like, or if I would have, you know, like, what would have happened? And just like, you know, the importance of like, you know, you know, I grew up like, I don't know if you knew, but I was like the first person to graduate high school in my family. Like, I'm the only one that's, you know, ever gone to college or anything. So I never, like, I guess, had, you know, somebody tell me like, oh, you know, you got to have life insurance, you got to do this, like,
Right,
you know, financial literacy. I never had
right,
that. So even like, it made me think of those things, like, what if, you know, I was gone? Like, I'm the main source of income for my family. Like, what would happen? So it brought, you know, that also into perspective, and thinking of that, like, you know, I have to be prepared in case any tragedy does happen, you know, which we're super optimistic, but you never know. But just, you know, just love, like, just love people, and just don't, you know, don't over stress about things you can't control. Like,
right.
don't sleep over
Yeah,
stuff like that, because stress kills too.
it does. It does. And you know what that is. And I mean, and you're a young guy, but I mean, how old is your daughter?
She turns 15 this year, so we were gonna have her quinceañera, but we're postponing it for next year
Right.
because it'll
Oh,
give more shots will be out there,
yeah.
and just
It'll
everything.
be
So
more
I'm glad
fun
that she's
next year.
okay with it.
It'll
Mhm.
be better next year. That's a shame, but I'm sure that must have been very, very hard on her to have both of y'all and then have you in the hospital. Did she get sick also?
No, she hasn't. No, she didn't. I mean, she was gone. I mean, luckily she went to see her grandma for New Year's, and then she just, you know, it happened like right after, like, I think on the third or the second, we were supposed to go get her, and it was like, yeah, just don't come home because, you know, mommy has it. So it was like, so we didn't. It's the longest we've ever been apart. So it was definitely hard. I definitely missed her.
Yeah.
I would just think of hugging her and I would cry, like, you know, or watch little baby videos. But it's
Yeah.
self torture. But I knew that it's just important. I didn't want her to, you know, just come near us until we both tested negative.
Right. It was like when my dad was in there at first, you know, the hospital itself had a policy of only letting patients have one single visitor per day. So my mom would go one day, I would go another day, my brother would go another day, and we just all rotate like that. Um, but then he went to the rehab, and it was nobody inside, nobody, sorry, and no, you can't bring them anything except for mail and I think clothing items or something, like if they need an underwear or a t-shirt or something. So okay, so at first he was making video calls on his phone, and then something, he screwed up something on his phone, he couldn't do it anymore, and so that was very hard on him. um, I would go in the beginning and like tap on his window, hey dad, and we get on the phone together and talk, and I'd wave at him, and that does him a lot of good. But then there were these periods where he wouldn't, you know, you could call him on the phone, you know, if his phone were plugged in or if he hadn't dropped it because he couldn't get to it. And it was depressing. And literally half the people in Laurel Park had COVID-19 for
Mm.
months and months and months. And so at first he had a room with a window, and then he had another room, I think, with a window, and then he had a room with no window, and they kept moving people because I think it was because they kept bringing in people with
Yeah.
COVID, and they were trying to keep everybody separated, the ones who had it from the ones who didn't. But he was moved 3 or 4 times during the time he was there, and he was there, my God, like 2 months, you know.
Does he still have to go back like for any rehab, or that's all good?
No, that's all at home now. So, and that's good. I feel it's better for him to be at home because
Oh
he's
yeah,
around
there's
other
nothing like
people.
your home. Yeah,
And besides, it's home. Yeah.
exactly.
You know,
And I mean, even there, like, I mean, just I give it up to just like nurses and doctors. God, you know, God bless them and God bless that profession because they are holding it down. Like
and they're
everybody there,
suffering.
they're doing magic because I mean, and they would tell us like, you know, we're at capacity in a lot of these places, and we have to have people like, you know, we have to work like, you know, it's hard because somebody comes in, you can't deny somebody service,
Right.
come to the emergency room, but we are like at capacity, you
But it's like a war zone, you know, for months and months. It's like it really is like they are in a war zone. It's like a MASH unit. There's
know.
people in hallways and stuff. There's people wherever you can put them.
Mhm.
And I don't
Yeah,
know what you saw there, but
I met a guy that he told me he used to be a nurse and then he got out the profession, but he came back just because he felt like a sense of duty to come back and help it. I was like, wow, well, thank you,
yeah,
because I mean, you're definitely needed. And he's like, yeah, and they're needed everywhere. And they have travel nurses too, because other cities need
yeah,
nurses. They'll house you. They'll, you know, hospitals are just in dying need of them. So they even had a parade where I was at Noonan. The police department, the fire had a parade for the hospital people, which
that's
was really
that's
nice.
nice.
Yeah.
I know that Clayton County is looking for volunteers for the COVID-19 vaccination response. Um, it says uh, volunteers have to be pre-credentialed and organized. So, excuse me, that means licensed medical volunteers, including doctors, nurses, pharmacists, and advanced EMS personnel, EMT, intermediate, and above. And if you're not a medical person, if you're a non-medical volunteer, you can help by doing administrative things like registering people for vaccination, data entry, language interpretation, and other kinds of officey things as they need, and guiding people and helping people. Say, go over there and sign up here, wait here and roll up your sleeve, that kind of thing. So people who are interested can go to dph.georgia.gov/Georgia-responds and click on the register now box. And they'll ask you to, fill out some information, what's your background and things like that. But if people, especially if you have had a shot already, I would think if you feel moved to do that, I think that's probably going to be very helpful in getting this vaccine disseminated to as many people as possible.
It is, and like you mentioned earlier, this is something we were talking as a council. Just like what type of outreach are we doing towards the people that are not like technology savvy, like these, you know, some of these older homes, the people that really need it.
Mhm.
So I mean, I don't know what type of outreach is being done, but that's something that we're currently working on in Forest Park
Mhm.
to make sure we get the news to our elderly homes
Yeah, yeah.
population.
I have here some numbers I just want to share really quickly with everybody. These are also from the Clayton County Health District as of January 31st. And I know that that's like a week ago, but that's the most recent numbers that we have available. 17,863 Clayton County residents have had COVID-19 or have tested positive for COVID-19, I should say. Statewide, it's 749,867 people. So that's almost, those numbers have gone up since a week ago. So 750,000 people in Georgia have tested positive for COVID-19. Forest Park, as of January 31st, had 1,790 people, which you would be one of those people. And that accounts for 10% of the cases in Clayton County, just in Forest Park alone. So that's a lot. And then among folks of Hispanic and Latino ethnicity, there have been 2,432 cases, of which you're one. And those account for 13.6% of Clayton County cases. So the Hispanic and Latino community in Clayton County is getting hit very hard, very hard. If you would like to explain some of this or repeat any of this in Spanish at this point, feel free. Go for it.
Okay, I mean, I can just relay a message.
Sure.
Thank you, Robin. Bueno, nomás mi gente les quiero decir que se tomen en serio esta pandemia, porque es algo que en realidad los puede afectar no solo con el tiempo que lo tienen, pero a largo plazo, después que lo tienen. No solo ustedes, pero por el bien de sus familias y por el bien de nuestra comunidad, por favor, usen sus máscaras, usen el hand sanitizer, el líquido del alcohol para limpiarse las manos, no se tocan la cara si tocan afuera, paquetes que vienen en el correo, o sea, traten de abrirlos afuera antes de entrar. Si van a lugares en público, por favor, mantengan la distancia y nomás cuídense, porque es algo muy, muy serio. Y bueno, queremos que todos pasemos sobre esta etapa que estamos pasando ahora y para estar bien. Así que, por favor, cuídense. Y bueno, estos números son reales, así que nomás pasen el mensaje a los demás, así todos podemos pasar sobre este momento que está pasando en nuestra comunidad y estar bien. Así que, bueno, gracias por escucharme.
Y también tengo un número de teléfono. No estoy seguro de la opción en español, pero llámalo. El número es 844-625-6522 y presione la opción número 3. Or whichever one goes to Spanish.
Okay, y eso, Robin, is for testing?
It's for how to get help to register for testing.
Okay, para registrarse para tomar el examen de COVID si alguien necesita.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that. And
no problem.
You know if they if it matters like the status of a person there? Or?
I don't believe it does. I don't think they asked that question. I think basically you show up and let's see. I think they asked for our driver's license or some kind of ID.
Okay.
So if you had an ID, maybe, that's a good question. I don't know that they would require it.
Mm-hmm. I know I asked one place, and the one there on Forest Parkway that they were doing,
mm-hmm.
I don't know if you remember where the old Walgreens or CVS used to be,
mm-hmm.
the big pharmacy, or the Rite Aid, I think. They just asked for any type of ID with their name. It can be like a consular ID or a Mexican ID or something. Yeah. As long as it just has your name on it, it says with a picture, and they tested you. So.
And I'm going to show you on my phone here what it looks like when you go to the website. Mm-hmm. Oh yes, you can select language. Okay, up here, and feel free to interpret. Up here, in case people haven't been there before, it says select language, right there.
Este es el website del Departamento de Salud, y arriba puede elegir la opción que dice cambiar de idioma. Y
and I'm gonna change it right now.
Todo el sitio web cambia el idioma que elijan. Así que si eligen español, cambia todo a español y pueden poner ahí su información.
And all kinds of other languages, many languages. And then después, mira, en español.
Perfect. Okay.
Ahí
tiene cómo cambia.
Okay. And it says here is the info. I don't know if you can read that. Yeah.
Dice, a partir todas las personas son elegibles para la prueba COVID-19 en el estado de Georgia. A partir del lunes 1 de febrero del 2021, si desea hacerse la prueba, haga clic aquí. No necesitará una cita, pero debe registrarse. El horario es de lunes a viernes de 8 a.m. a 4 p.m. El lugar de prueba es la Iglesia Bautista Rock Springs, 5900 Reynolds Road, Morrow, Georgia, 30260. Si tiene acceso a una computadora o teléfono inteligente, necesita ayuda para registrarse para una prueba, comuníquese con el centro de llamadas 1-844-625-6522 y luego presione la opción 3. So, So easy.
Yeah,
that is very accessible.
that's good. We've had two 2000, I'm sorry, God, not 2000. We've had 294 people in Clayton County die of COVID-19 so far in the past almost a year. 294 people. And we don't even know who they all are, because they don't release that information. So most of them have been between 60 and 89 years old, but there are some who are under 15, and there are some who are in the age range of 15 to 29 who have died. And because you teach high school, correct?
I teach elementary school.
Oh, you teach elementary school. I'm sorry. I thought you were at Forest Park High School. So most of the people who are getting sick are in that 15 to 29 age group, but most of the people who are dying are over 60.
Yeah, I can see that group being the one out, more active.
Yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, I think, the nature of the beast is that, when you're young, you think you're invincible and you say, oh, it's nothing, or you may know someone anecdotally who had it but didn't get super sick, right? That doesn't mean you won't get super sick. Exactly. And as long as people keep congregating, it's going to keep spreading. Every time you get together with somebody and breathe on them, y'all are basically feeding the beast. So, we got to quit feeding the mutations and
we do. We definitely do. And the thing is, sometimes, in essence, within that group, you might be okay, but if you pass it to somebody that is, in the other age gap, then
your mom, your dad, your grandma, your grandpa, your auntie, your whoever, your neighbor, then you don't want to live with that for the rest of your life.
Like that. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I'm really glad that you're okay. I couldn't believe you were like texting me from the ICU. When you said, oh, I'm in the ICU, I'm like, what are you doing on the phone?
I was just sitting there. So I'm like, oh, I mean, I'm not going to lie. A lot of people, I'm just so blessed to have so many people that cared and constituents that would hit me up. But it was a lot of people. Like, I would just basically copy and paste the same message. Like, I'm okay. Like, this is where I'm at. I know it matters, but honestly, I was just sitting there. So, and I really appreciate what you do. So I always just want to keep in the loop,
Oh, likewise. And I know it can be super boring in there, especially when you've been in there for days, but I also didn't know how sick you felt at that particular moment. I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to bother you right now. Are you kidding me? Go. Drink oxygen.
It was on the uphill scale. When I first got there, it wasn't, I wasn't feeling too high, but I was, just blessed that it was an in and out thing. Unlike other people that are there. So it's just, just really, really just take it serious and take, even just don't take your life for granted, because that's what it is. I think you're just playing, Russian roulette out there with it, because if you're not caring like that, and I even can't believe like some of the people that just are all up against the mask or think it's a hoax.
Yeah.
Definitely not. No, we have some family members, up in Calhoun, and I go up there and it's so it's isolated from here, which I think it takes a while to spread to those places, I think, but eventually, but once it gets there, I feel like with a lot of the there's a lot of carpet mill factories up there. And I think once it gets to those type places, it's just inevitable that will happen. So yeah, and you don't want to become a believer from getting it.
Right. Definitely. This is not the kind of experience.
This is not the one. This is not the badge you want. Because I would joke around with my wife and my friends, be like, "Oh, you got COVID, man. Everybody has COVID, and I haven't gotten it. Like, I feel left out, like as a joke." And now it's like, "Oh man, not at all. This is not the one you want.
Not a club you want to join."
Exactly.
Well, we're glad you're feeling better, and I hope you don't have any long tail symptoms, and that you get back to doing your thing real soon. I know that the city put the kibosh on all the outdoor events and the food trucks and things like that. I know you were really disappointed about the food trucks.
Yeah, I was a little sad, but I understand, especially after, what I went through, which I felt like, in a way we had like the social distancing thing down, but I understand and I respect it, and I just want to contribute, we want to be an example for for everybody
Yeah.
and not put our citizens, in harm's
Yeah.
way. So hopefully, it gets better and we can resume it in March or April. That's what I'm hoping for. So, but
Yeah.
but until then, just stay safe. Be
That's
safe,
just
people.
it. I mean, we don't want to do this for another year, right? I mean, if
Exactly.
we all just like buckle down and get it over with now, then we can be out in the park having a good time, summer, fall, something like that. And
Exactly.
hopefully things will get back to something like normal.
Mhm. True.
Yeah. Well, Hector Gutierrez, thank you so much, Councilman, and the best of luck to you and your family. And thanks so much for everything you're doing. And please keep us in the loop about whatever the city comes up with in terms of outreach.
Of course, yeah, yeah, definitely. And we'll also just congratulations. I know I've told you, but just on your election, just how you were on so many things. I listened to the NPR podcast, and I was in the shower. It's kind of like a routine. I listened to it in the morning, and when I heard your name, I was like, "What? Like I know her. I know her." So it was super cool. So I'm really happy that you got that because you were putting in a lot of work. Like that was a lot. So I did want to let you know that on February 17th, I am having a town hall meeting. It's going to be
Okay.
virtual, but I just kind of want to update everybody on what we've been doing this year, and I was kind of wanting to have one eventually in person, but I'm like, let me just have a virtual one just to fill everybody in on what's been going on. So I'll be having, we'll be sharing the information on the Forest Park website.
Mhm.
But, for anybody that doesn't know me, I'm going to be introducing myself and then just letting everybody know all the things that we've been doing since I got elected and all the changes that we've had in Forest Park.
Hey, I know that Councilwoman James, I'm sorry, I'm having a moment. Councilwoman James has been doing this on a fairly regular basis for a
Mhm.
while. Do you see more members of the council going to these kind of almost like ward meetings online virtually? And you see them doing a little bit more of that since COVID has sort of locked people up?
Like, I probably honestly, I don't because like in essence, like she provides a lot of updates, but it's I think I mean I'm glad she does it because it gives some information, and I've had some constituents ask me for it. Um, you know, but I mean I think if this continues this route, I think yeah, that's
Mhm.
probably what's going to happen with the council members. Um, thank God for the social media platforms, and I know that some of them are very active on them, and some of them not so much.
Mhm.
I'm one of them that I gotta just learn to be active. I'm not good at posting. I just do. Like I'll be honest, Robin. Like even with myself with social media, I don't really. I just enjoy the moment and do what I did. I have to post all these things I gave out for Christmas, all these things
Mhm.
I gave out for Thanksgiving. I'm kind of behind on some posts, and I have them there. I'll put them out eventually this month. They're on my to-do list. But COVID hit me kind of like put a pause on some things.
Yeah.
But yeah, but but I think so. I think if this continues, it will be in that way. But I think it's also something that it's not like a super hard thing to do, and that you can just host it now with all the Zoom stuff. So
Mhm.
I can see it becoming a popular thing for some people that don't want to maybe leave the house and want to listen to it.
Yeah. I worry in particular about the older constituents, the people who usually used to show up for the meeting in
And the meetings,
person,
yeah,
and you know who they are, right? But they may not be doing this, and I don't see a lot of them doing it, and some of them don't even use the internet at all or have a computer. Some of them do and just they don't bother with like they're not on Facebook or anything, so they're not about to figure out how to use a Zoom, even though it's not that hard.
yeah,
I worry about those people, getting information, and
yeah,
anything to get the word out to them is good.
yeah. What do you think? Like, what paper kind of flyers you think, or maybe like
Hey, I mean, that's what I do, that's my profession, that's why I'm always asking for information to pass it along, so go through us and go through Clayton News and go through the TV stations and send flyers to your ward and have a Zoom meeting, do all of it. I mean, all of it,
exactly.
multiple channels. That you have to do all of it. You can't just like throw it up on Facebook because first of all, not everybody's on Facebook.
Mhm.
So, you wind up talking to the same 20 people all the time, which is okay, but it's not so good for the
Not
other.
everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
No, thank you
So,
for that. That
yeah, absolutely. Just as many, there are not too many ways to get the word out.
exactly. No, and that's one of the things that I ran on was transparency that I wanted because I even felt left out at times as a citizen here.
Mhm,
I would look at our website and be like, what? You
mhm.
know, I mean, even like I was running in the election and I felt like at first, like first few months, I was sending people to vote to the school, to their school. I'm like, yeah, you go vote to your school,
Right.
it's me learning and then I had to go back, but it gave me an excuse to go back and see everybody. That was my favorite part of seeing people. Um, so yeah, but
So what do you think of the new website?
I mean, I think honestly, anything would have been better than our old one. I just was not a fan
Yeah.
of the old one, but I really like it because we each have like our own pages that we have our council aides that update, so we
Mhm.
can put our own stuff there. We're going to be putting properties that the city has for sale up there. Hopefully, I want to add maybe like a section where we can highlight some businesses also.
Mhm.
In the
It's a
future.
vast improvement. It really, really is.
Yeah, the color for the rebranding also with the stuff. I think I really like that. But yeah, we're doing so many things. So I'm happy. I've seen the growth. And it takes time. And stuff doesn't happen overnight. And you got to change a lot of mindsets, a lot of healing also. I think Forest
Mhm.
Park. I came in there. Don't know nobody, and there's supposedly these asides,
Oh,
and just coming in there brand new and seeing things, and sometimes it's not all that. There is inside, there's people, it's just people. I mean, and
mhm.
at the end of the day, you just got to get through. But a lot of healing needs to happen, and I think we're moving forward with that, and it's slowly happen. And sometimes we got little bumps, but just having gone through this, I don't have time for that.
Right.
I don't get
I
into
know
it.
what you
Yeah,
mean.
and always do what's
Like,
best for the people. They're always at the forefront for me. Like just doing what's best. And I mean, I am the people because I live here. I have my own house.
right.
My daughter lives here. My wife, and then it's like we're invested in this community, so we want the best of it. And my students live here, so I want the best for them. So it's it's nice to be moving some stuff forward, and I just the potential we have. I think being outside of the first city south of Atlanta, like I don't know what happened when I
Yeah.
moved. I was like, what happened? Everything's over there.
Right. Yeah.
Up. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
I keep
we'll
going
get-
by Hateville and going, why don't we have this? Why don't we have that? And yeah.
but we're
But
gonna start all this. Like
It's coming. It's just slow.
we're
Yeah.
gonna do like you had mentioned to me, like the art committee. I'm gonna do that art committee. I want to do a senior committee, but with this whole COVID thing, I think it's just kind of on hold now. But I have like the team committee that I was meeting with before. But we want to also celebrate all the ethnicities. Like we want to add to our budget, like something for um, our Vietnamese community, which is really
Mhm.
big in our city also.
Mhm.
I love Maro's stuff, like all their stuff, how the way they promote it also, like
Yeah. The
um,
thing is, how do you pay for it? Like the way that they pay for it, they were saying that they pay for it with the hotel motel tax. So that's how they pay for it. I don't know how Forest Park would pay for it, but they get money from Gillum. Who knows? I don't know. That's for y'all to decide.
exactly, yeah. But yeah, but thank you, Robin. I appreciate you again. Thank you for having me, and you have
Likewise.
my number if anything, an email.
Okay, listen, man, thank you and speedy healing. Get well soon and stay strong and thanks for everything you do.
Thank you. And here I'm gonna say goodbye. I teach second grade, so this is Jimmy Carter. He's saying goodbye to you. Goodbye, Robin, and he's got his peanuts there.
Bye, Mr. President.
Yep, he's the best president in Georgia history. That's what I tell the kids, and the kids get so mad. They're like, "But you're the only one. That's why." And I'm like, "I'm still the best one." Yeah, but all right, Robin. Have a good night. Thank you.
Take care of yourself.
All right.